Scrappin with Sheri. Today we're going to be doing virtual crop sketch number 2. And if you've been with me very much, you've heard me say that anytime you bring out extra tools, the sketches take longer, the project recipes take longer. And today's going to be one of those cases because we are going to be using our circle cutter to cut these giant circles on here. The rest of it, you could make it as simple or as hard as you want to because there's borders here. I'm going to show you an easy way to do those borders. And I'm going to be using some leftovers that I have from the Happy Together collection. I've got some Valentine pictures that I wanted to get done. And although this and that don't really go together well, I think it's going to be okay. The pink would actually be prettier, but I do have a good bit of red in my pictures, so I want to bring that in with the Valentine-y look. So I am going to be adding this, although it's probably not the best color to add. So let's cut our circles first so we can get that out of the way. This is a one-pager on here. I'm going to be making it a 2-page spread. But the directions tell us that we need to cut this jumbo circle inside with the blue blade. So that's what I'm going to do first. And I'm just lining this up as close to the edge as I can get it. So I'll have some leftover space that might be large enough to do a mat. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to get those prongs in the track. And I am using the black shimmer paper for this. I just thought it would be a nice look. Yeah, not quite wide enough for mats, but we can do something with it. And then let me do one more since we're making this a 2-page spread. And now we can move those things out of the way. So let's do our regular cuts with our 12-inch trimmer and see where we're headed. So we need a 1 1/4 border that goes across here. And I'm going to do that out of this heart paper. So there's not going to be a ton of this showing, but I think it'll be enough. I just want to add a little red. I'm doing a 1 1/4. Again, because I'm doing a 2-page spread, I need 2 of those. And then the border that they've done on the top and the bottom of that, instead of doing a border per se, I'm going to use this, this striped black and white paper. And I have got 2 inches of that. So if I make 4 1/2-inch pieces, I can do top and bottom on both sides. So I'm just going to cut that 1/2 inch and do that 4 times. Now remember, your 1/2 inch is the first solid black line to the right of the cutting mat. I love it that that's so easy to line up on there. And we've got those borders cut. The only other thing we're going to need to do is cut our circles down. And it actually shows that the circle is going to go up in this corner, and then you're going to cut off that excess. So I'm actually going to tape my circle onto my page before I cut that off. And because I'm doing a 2-pager, I thought about doing one at the top and one at the bottom, but I think I'll do them on the top on opposite sides of my pages. And this just goes all the way to the edge. And let's grab our tape. And what I'm going to do is put some tape right here on the edge of it where I know that it's going to be on my paper. And then I'm going to put it down. I'm trying to leave some excess here because I do want a good bit to show on those other parts. And then I'm going to just go back and add some tape right there. If I had just put it all over my circle, I would have ended up with it everywhere. And that's exactly what I did not want. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. And then we'll go back to our 12-inch trimmer to cut it down. Now, if these are not exactly the same, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make a big difference. And by the time we get our photos and our journaling and our embellishments on there, I don't think you're going to be able to tell a lot about what's going on with it. Now, here's where it gets a little hard because you've got this excess room, but you've got nowhere to put it in here. So the easiest thing to me to do is to cut one side with your scissors. And I am not a good scissor cutter. I don't cut straight, but I can cut it well enough. I'm gonna cut that off. Then I can put this in and get my straight edge to trim this. And then I can go back and trim that off a little bit straighter. And we've got those extra pieces to use in a minute. We'll do the same thing on this one. You can tell that's flopping right there where I didn't get it taped on the edge. I can also tell this one's a little bit bigger. And again, that's not a problem because there's no rule that says which ones we have to use in which spot. We can mix and match these however we choose to. Now look at that. Kind of makes me think of Minnie Mouse, which is funny. All right, so let's move some things out of the way so I can go back to my sketch and see what we've got to do. Now on my sketch, there's a piece here. And then they've put a smaller piece down here at the bottom. And I can just trim this off wherever I want to. It doesn't really matter. And then because I'm doing a double spread, I don't really want those two pieces to be in the same spot. I don't want it to look like I matched it up there. So I think what I'm going to do is slide that one that way. Go down with this one. And then take this one over to this corner. I was having a hard time with these flowers too because I kept turning my paper one way and I would think, oh, those flowers are all upside down. And then I would flip it over. Well, half the flowers go one way, half the flowers go the other way. So if you're using a paper like this or this particular paper, it doesn't really matter because they're kind of all over the place. And here I'm just trying to get corner and corner on there. And same thing over here. And we're going to pull that 12-inch trimmer back out again to cut off this excess. All right, so we've got that part done. The only other thing we've got left besides our photos is just adding our borders across here. And you know what? I'm noticing my border is not a full length. I obviously used that on something else and didn't make it, didn't have a full length left. And this is all I have from this paper pack. So I'm gonna have to embellish. How terrible is that? And I can tell by looking at it that this one is a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. We do want to make sure that we get them all the same size or very close to it. I just grabbed what was left over when I pulled the last one up, but it's a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. So let's stick all this down and then we'll go back and look at our photos and our embellishments. Now I'm just using my regular tape. 1/2 inch is large enough to do regular tape. I'm going to start it pretty close to the top and just try to keep it even. And if I wanted to, I could keep this totally in the pinks and blacks. I could flip this upside down and use that pink behind it. But my photos just have several little spots of red in them. So I really wanted just a touch of red for Valentine's. This paper pack would be good for a lot of different things. I think when it came out, people thought it was just for Valentine's, but it's really not. I mean, these flowers on here would be great for spring. I could see them even for some Easter layouts. They're just soft, and the watercolors are pretty. It's just a nice little pack. There's a lot of red though, and these hearts are pretty Valentine-y, but I just think it's a cute pack. And it's a smaller pack, but it has the embellishments too, so I do like that. All right, we got that lined up pretty well. I've got some play in this right here, and I think it's because my stripe is not exactly straight, and I've tried to finagle it, and it just doesn't want to lay down exactly right. There we go. All right, so that's pretty cute, just like it is, but it's always better when we add our pictures. So let me pull those out and see what we've got to work with. Now on our sketch, it shows, I'm gonna start with this side because the sketch was done on that side, but it shows one large photo with two smallers underneath. And I'm kind of laying these out in order. My son-in-law takes, he's just a good girl dad. He's a good husband. He went out early on Valentine's morning and got goodies for his girls and had those in the kitchen when they got up that morning. And then they went to eat for lunch, and then they went out for ice cream at night, and they just had a really fun time. Now, when I'm looking at this, because of my background, I feel like my pictures are sort of fading into the background. And there are a couple of different ways I could handle that. One is I could mat everything in black, but because we've got these big black circles on here, I think that's a little too much. So I'm almost thinking it might be a good opportunity to pull out some red. So let me pull out some red and see what we can do with that. And this is going to be kind of fun because you don't see me matting colors very often, but I just feel like these need it. This is the red that's called chili pepper. And I don't think this is currently available. I think it was a short-term thing from Creative Memories. But it really matches the red in this paper pack really well. So I'm just going to cut some mats real fast for this. I'm not even really measuring. I'm just looking to see what size I need. But boy, I think this is really going to stand out. That's the one thing that you haven't seen me do much is mat in a color, because I've been doing so much in the white, and I love the white still, but with this very white background, it's just not enough. I just needed a little bit of extra oomph. Now I think I developed these to work on a 4x4. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing with that one. And then I'm going to need one more. Let's see if this happens. It's not quite 4 inches wide. You know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to end up welding it probably. Yep. Cut a 4 here. And then, yeah, I'm going to cut one more 4 here. And just to get that the same size as my other mats, I'm just going to cut an edge off of that and piece them together. Yes, I could pull a whole nother sheet of cardstock, and that would be fine as well. But it just goes against my grain to do a whole nother sheet of red, which is a color I don't use a whole lot, in order to have this one little piece right here. And we stick the picture on. Nobody knows except you. So let's mat these pictures, get them in place, and see where we are. I think this is going to be really pretty. And it's going to give a really festive look. So I wish I could hear from you right now, because I'd be interested to know what you think about the fact that this doesn't go all the way to the end. The more I look at that, the more it doesn't bother me. And I had thought I would cover it up with embellishments, but I don't think I'm going to worry about it. All right. These were her goodies that were mailed to her by her great-grandmother and her great-aunt. So I will do a little journaling on this. The sketch actually shows the journaling over to the side. And you'll see where I journaled when you see the photos when it's finished. And put these on our pages. We're going to go with this one about right here. I'm kind of trying to line this up with these flowers along the bottom and make sure I have about the same amount of the flowers showing. Looking kind of at that to make sure it's straight there. And I'll do the same thing here. What do you think about the red? I think that's turning out pretty cute. And I'll try to mimic this pretty closely on this side as well. Spacing about the same. I'm looking over there and I'm thinking that just doesn't even look straight on the opposite side right now. Hard to tell. You know, I could play with it all night long, or I could just let it go. Maybe the curvature of the circle that's causing it to look really off. Or it could be my mats. It could be any number of things. We can just embellish and make it work. So there's mine as a 2-page spread. Now let me see what embellishments I do have, because I don't really have much left in this pack. Now these little hearts are cute. I could see those somewhere. That You and Me is really cute for her and her mommy. Oh, I could do lovebirds here with her daddy. Set that up there. She sure does love her daddy. True love would work well with her ice cream, because let me tell you, she does love that. And then I've got these little mats, but I don't think I want to use any of those for journaling. They're a little too much. That hay's kind of cute, but yeah, I could see her saying, hey, look at all these things I got. I think I'll leave those off. So we'll pull a few foam squares and this page will be done. Now this one, it's a little bit different, but I think it's okay. I kind of like the circles. Just kind of a new style for us, but that's what we like about the crop sketches, the virtual crop sketches. They make us try new things, and we get some different looking pages, so everything doesn't look the same all the time. And there we go. So that's our virtual crop sketch number 2 from February 2025. And until I see you next time, happy scrapping.